Thank you all for coming to the post-game press conference. Final score, Charlotte 68, Memphis 77. Coach, would you like to open with any beginning statements?
No.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you.
See you too.
So when you look at a night like tonight and you get the crowd the way it is, it's kind of afternoon on Sunday, a big opponent coming in, then a team fights to a single-digit loss in the end.
Yeah.
How do you just sum up just the atmosphere and what it means for this young program?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously experienced phenomenal support last year and an exciting season, and obviously you've got a big-time team coming in here with, you know, a super talented roster, and we knew we had to play really well, you know, and against teams like that, you're going to have to really shoot the ball well and take care of it. We didn't quite do that well enough in the first half, and then didn't make shots, and they made shots, you know, so that was kind of the downfall, unfortunately, in that first half. But the fight and the grit and the toughness the guys showed throughout the game, you know, I personally feel like the first half we didn't make shots, and the second half we did, and, you know, we were obviously able to outscore them there in that second half and fight to the end. And, you know, but what we've got to learn is we can't dig a hole that deep, you know, and we have talked about that, you know, because at some point you are going to make a run, and then it makes it interesting, but we couldn't make it interesting enough.
Coach, towards the end there, down single digits, about 30 seconds left. What went into the decision to not play the foul game towards the end?
Yeah, probably too big of a hole, you know, like we had a couple of opportunities. They made a couple of shots there down the stretch that just didn't quite close that gap enough, and we've kind of been in some of those situations in conference play where, you know, a close-ish game turns out to a bigger defeat than really what it is, and, you know, that's really the only thing in it, you know, like it was probably just a little bit too far away.
Coach, what are some of those small things, those finite things that you think need to change when you'd make a run and get within a striking distance, and then they stretch the lead right back out in that second half? You'd make another run, they'd be able to stretch it right back out.
Well, I've talked recently a lot about just playing in character, and but we have some guys that play out of character at the wrong times. And what I mean by that is you have to do what you do well, right, and not think that you can go do things that you're not capable of doing, because it just digs the hole deeper. And we had that patch in that first half. We did make a couple of plays. Got to make some things happen that you do well. We didn't do that. Second half much better. But the previous games we've had little patches where we just go rogue, get out of character a little bit, is what I call it. And you know, in my experiences doing that costs you dearly. And when you play against really good teams like this, you don't recover from that. And what we've experienced in conference play is we've had patches like that where we haven't stayed in the moment in character, and we just wobble a little bit and dig a hole, and then we keep fighting, and we just can't stay in it close enough.
Jay, Sean, another double-digit performance for you. Just how's this first year in Charlotte been since you come over from Florida Southwestern State? How have you liked just playing with this 49ers team, being around these guys, and playing in Halton Arena?
I like playing here, but obviously it's been a lot of adjustments I've been having to make each and every day. But I feel like I've came a long way, still making strides with this team. I'm just trying to just help this team get some wins. So.
You know, I can talk on that too. I'm sure JT's not played against a team like that in his career. You know what I mean? And but that's cool too. You know, I remember when I played, and you play against some of the players I've played against back in Australia, and you've grown up watching them, and then all of a sudden you're on the court playing against some of those guys. It's pretty awesome, you know. But you do learn pretty damn quick how good they are, and how quick the game is, and how quick they are to recover from mistakes. And you know what I always appreciate about players, and it always sits deeply with me, is are you willing to learn and listen? There's obviously a million different ways you can play this game, but when you're in this program, we're going to play the game a certain way, right? And you've got to adjust to that. And And so his adjustment is obviously stepping up probably 3 or 4 or 5 levels to play at this level. And he's had his ups and downs. I still don't think he's quite got there yet where he just plays kind of free. You know, he's still processing a little bit at times, and I know he's trying to be very compliant. But you also got to play with some freedom too. That'll come. I mean, that's an awesome experience. You learn a lot from that, as a lot of our guys will. And now you've got to go apply it and learn from past experiences. I'm big on that. Because as I said in the locker room afterwards, unfortunately, this landscape's very transactional these days, and that sucks. You know, you want it to be transformational, where you spend a lot of time with guys and help them really grow and help them get to their potential as you would typically back in the days. But that's not like that now. You've got to transform quickly, you know, and some are and some aren't quite there yet.
Sorry if you've been asked this either of y'all, but after Memphis thank you. After Memphis goes up by 16 at halftime, and you guys are kind of pulling that rope back in your direction, but then with 5 minutes left, it seems to be over, but you guys still didn't give up. What was Memphis doing at the end that allowed you to crawl back in and still make it a game, still make things interesting in the 3, 4, 5 minutes left?
Yeah, I mean, look, they obviously came out and shot the lights out to start with and played really well and moved the ball, and those guys that need to make shots did. But we didn't stop fighting. We were going to fight to the last second. I talk to these guys all the time about that. You're developing behavior, positive behavior to become something. And sometimes in defeat, you can get better. Guys got to understand that you can still improve by not quite getting what you want. I feel like the last 3 games we've, done that. Now, obviously, it needs to get to a point where it turns into a positive result. We sat in a bit of zone and slowed it down a little bit. They didn't quite make a couple of shots, and did they naturally just relax a little bit? Maybe. I don't know. You need to ask Coach Penny that question. But all I'm worried about is our guys fighting to the end and trying to develop some behaviors that will help us continue to grow.
And as far as the turnovers that piled up for Memphis, was it something that you did that rattled that team, or was it more so kind of self-inflicted on their end? How do you see it?
I mean, probably a little both. We trapped the post a few times that second half, which created some turnovers. So that's obviously system on our part that forced them to turn the ball over. I felt like going into the game, you could pressure their bigs a little bit at times and make them be playmakers. So that was positive. We pressed a bit and sat in the zone, and they just probably had a couple of careless turnovers out of it as well. But obviously they're extremely talented when you just got to play the man-to-man for the whole 40 minutes. I don't know. I don't think you can do that. They've got too much talent that they can pick you apart. I mean, Penny does a great job putting them in spots to be successful and make plays, and that puts you under pressure to really be great with your rotations and your system. And, they came out of some timeouts and made some plays. And but, did they relax a little bit? Maybe.
Thank you all. That concludes today's press conference.
Appreciate it.